It was a cold winter afternoon in the tiny town of Millbridge when a shivering boy knocked on the door of a small bakery. His clothes were torn, his shoes full of holes, and hunger painted his face with shadows far beyond his young years. Mrs. Eleanor Thompson, the owner of the bakery, was sweeping flour off the counter when she saw him through the frosted window. She had seen many customers over her 40 years in business, but something about this boy stopped her in her tracks. She opened the door before he could knock again. "Are you lost, dear?" she asked gently, noticing the way he clutched his stomach. The boy, no more than 10, shook his head but didn't say a word. His eyes drifted to the trays of warm bread and sweet rolls behind her. "I don't have any money," he finally whispered, ashamed. Eleanor looked around her empty shop. Business had been slow. The bills were piling up. But her heart wouldn't let her turn him away. "Come in," she said. "I think I have just the thing for you." She handed him a warm loaf of bread and a cup of hot cocoa. The boy's hands trembled as he held the food. He looked up at her with wide eyes, tears threatening to fall. "Why are you helping me?" "Because, child," she said with a smile, "everyone deserves kindness once in a while." He nodded slowly, his small voice almost inaudible, "I'll never forget this." And then he was gone. Years passed. Eleanor grew older. Her bakery struggled as big chain stores opened nearby. Eventually, she was forced to shut it down. The once busy corner shop became quiet, its windows boarded up. Now in her late 60s, Eleanor lived alone in a modest apartment. She had no family, her husband had passed away years ago, and they never had children. She spent her days reading, sewing, and remembering better times. One morning, she received a letter in the mail with no return address. It read, "Dear Mrs. Thompson, I don't know if you remember me. I was a hungry little boy who came to your bakery 30 years ago. You fed me without asking for anything in return. You gave me hope when I had none. That simple act of kindness changed my life. It reminded me that even in the darkest times, someone cares. I've never forgotten you. And now, it's my turn. Please be home tomorrow at noon." Eleanor stared at the letter for minutes, heart pounding, wondering if it was real or some kind of joke. But the next day, she waited by the window. At exactly 12 o'clock, a sleek black car pulled up in front of her building. A man in a dark suit stepped out and walked to her door. He looked to be in his 40s, tall, confident, and kind-eyed. "Mrs. Eleanor Thompson?" he asked. "Yes," she said cautiously. He smiled. "You probably don't recognize me, but I've waited 3 decades to thank you." She blinked, and then gasped. "It's you." He nodded. "My name is Daniel Reyes. That loaf of bread you gave me? It kept me alive. But it wasn't just the food. It was the kindness that saved me." He told her how he had grown up homeless after his parents died in an accident. How he had struggled for years but eventually got a scholarship, then built his own tech company from the ground up. "I've done well," he said, handing her a thick envelope. "And I've been looking for you ever since I could afford to give back." With trembling fingers, Eleanor opened it, and nearly dropped it. Inside was a certified check for $1 million. Tears filled her eyes. "Daniel. I don't know what to say." He gently held her hands. "You don't have to say anything. You gave when you had little. Now, I want you to live the rest of your life in comfort. You're not alone anymore." The story made headlines. Reporters called it a modern miracle. A local news channel aired the reunion, and viewers across the world wept. Eleanor used the money not just for herself, she reopened her bakery, this time as a non-profit that gave free meals to anyone in need. Daniel helped her set up a foundation called the Bread of Hope, feeding children and helping struggling families around the country. In the end, it wasn't just about money. It was about one simple act of kindness that had come full circle, proof that what you give out to the world, even if small and unnoticed, can return to you in the most unexpected and beautiful ways. And to anyone who asked her about it, Eleanor always said the same thing. Never underestimate what a single loaf of bread can do.